The values of intergenerational exchange are wonderful in that you can't predict them. That is a key value. If two people with similar interests and goals meet together, no telling what will come out of it. So we know something will, we don't know what.
One would be the kind of building of temporal empathy, that ability to appreciate perspectives, needs, and priorities over time. I think there's also something about agency here and the active engagement with past, present, and future needs and choices kind of in some ways informs our own agency today. And there's something here about being able to appreciate what's novel and what's different, whether that's different kinds of knowledge or methodologies and tools and just approaches to thinking about the future.
What happens with every generation is that some knowledge is lost and some new knowledge is gained. So when you put the generations together, the lost knowledge reemerges and the new knowledge gains the richness from the past that it might not otherwise have.
There's resurfacing that lost knowledge that Betty's been talking about, but also understanding that there's an emergence of new knowledge and different ideas which might challenge some of the past thinking, maybe complement some of it, maybe helps to resurface some of it too. And kind of putting those two things in dialogue with each other perhaps produces a third type of knowledge, if you like, a kind of new set of collective intelligence for us to work with and build on together.
When I meet someone from the new generation of foresight practitioners, I always ask, what are you seeing? What is coming up on your screen of perception? And what are your intuitions, the things you can't yet see, but somehow feel?
There's thinking about what patterns people have seen before, which is still the same now. Maybe what has changed, how are people responding to futures on in those ways. So what are we feeling about this? What are the different hopes and fears we have? How do we tap into that? How have those things changed over time? Who are we engaging in these kind of activities too? Are there ways that we have done participatory futures work in the past, which we're not so familiar with now, and vice versa?
Our world, and especially our media of communication, are both siloed and moving fast. So the more hands we can stretch across generations and sources of communication and nations, the more likely it is that we will evolve better together as a human species.
We're living in a society which is polarized and siloed, as Betty has mentioned. And so, in a way of addressing that, is these kinds of exchanges. Let's all join something like this. Let's put our energies into really building this out to be something powerful and creative. And hopefully, kind of nurturing spaces like this is just, is one of many spaces like this, hopefully, that emerges and kicks off and becomes an energizing and hopeful source of change and a way for people to think, hey, yeah, you know what, we can transform the future collectively and build a better world. And this is how we get started.